I won't say a senior citizen or a pensioner. I'll say an achieved academic in silence.
Wow.
That was your sir.
Yes, thank you.
You know, we listened to all of the topics we have discussed here today, which are very critical, which bring me to the presentation I've prepared, but I'm going to change it. The title principle was that accountability is not an option, and is an understanding of the duty to report gender-based violence as pastors, as reverends, as apostles, as bishops.
Yes, sir.
Then something struck my mind while I was sitting there. Every one of us will give an account to himself or God. That's Romans 14.12. Then when you go to Matthew 12.36, states that, but I tell you that every careless and worthy people speak, they shall give an account to the day of judgment, what you have just said. Then I go down to our academic, he said, so then each one of us will give an account of himself to God, which is family.
Yeah.
Then I go down to a professor say that, let's not many of you become a teacher, my brethren, knowing that as such we will incur stricter judgment. Then yourself what you said in Proverbs 27:23. Know well the condition of your flocks and pay attention to your herds.
Yes.
Why I'm saying this is very simple. We talk about advocacy, we talk about accountability, we talk about stupidity, and we talk about ignorance. And we got that because of the responsibility as men and fathers, including women.
Yeah.
2018, we all became met in South Africa. 2,000 organizations became met in South Africa. And said to the president that we are terrible killings of women. In the last 27 years to 28 years, unapologetic, 6,443 pastors has been sentenced for rape and murder in South Africa. The Northern Cape had about 127 pastors. I'm not going to call that on ref. In the last year, were 27 pastors sentenced in this province for rape, femicide, and gender-based violence. Where we're sitting here today, I'm going to say one thing, shame to the church. We are sitting here in a hotspot. This precinct, in the last quarter, had 105 sexual offences cases in 3 months.
Wow.
Not one church did something about it. I still challenge today any Muruti to say I've done something about it. Don't tell me standing the sound, go and get a tell station commander with some few people and you say you've done that. It's not happening. It's totally nonsense. We got very gruesome headlines in South Africa. The famous one is the press last year, Piece of Whipping. We've read it. South Africa is among the highest levels of intimate partner violence, and the world of 31% of women are experiencing violent relationship in South Africa. We've become a capital of femicide violence in South Africa. Bless us and teach us. Anyone from Limpopo here? And Mpumalanga? Bless us and teach us impregnated 11,000 Limpopo and Mpumalanga pupils in the last 2 years. Bless us and teach us. One of the headlines, murder most foul. It is dark and shameful week for us as a nation where criminals have decency to even greater despite of cruelty and casualty. It simply caused a havoc. We've all been making noise to the president for quite some time. But 2018 was very profound. It was a change of a new birth. The National Strategic Plan of Gender-Based Violence was finalized. I remember when it was at Kimberley, we were at 5 pastors at the City Hall. When we called them, I'm busy on a Tuesday. Uppington, we had 7. When we called the chapel of MRM in Uppington municipality, I'm with the mayor. Why do we busy consultation there? Joburg was worse, Gurong was worse. End of the day that the plan was put together. 6 pillars were established. All the pillars have been formed in South Africa's pillar committees. But pillar 2, it's a problem. Healing, caring, supporting, counseling. Barutis are not there. Shame on you. Today I'm going to focus on what we call the 3 amendment legislations. The 3 legislations have been amended in South Africa on domestic violence, sexual offences, and the Children's Act. There's been about 57 regulations which has been amended on these 3 amendments today. One of the regulations called the NESO regulations, which is a very critical legislation as well. In the regulation format, it says the following that any person who is telling you something, it doesn't matter is a person confessing about an abuse or gender-based violence or murder, you dare not report, and you tell us in court, you will be arrested as a pastor. You'll receive 5 years in jail. You know why it went through? You didn't oppose it. And it's not a new law of this country. You see policemen going there in the street. Is it written support or whatever? Something is happening there. Take a pic, take a registration number, link the case, that police officer will be charged. Implemented from the 27th of July last year. It's law. Today we are complaining about gender-based violence as Barutis. How many today call themselves activists? And how many today call themselves cosmetic activists? There's a difference between the 2. An activist got no shame, he fights for a cause. But a cosmetic activist, once he's a national president, where got attention and also talk nonsense. At the end of the day that he wants better counsel. When we did the amendments on the draft bill, there's a bill now currently being discussed on gender-based violence and femicide crimes in this country. To form a gender-based violence council in South Africa, chaired by the president. We received 27,000 submissions in the country. Only 2 from the church. The SA County Bishop Conference, SACBC of the Catholics gave a submission, and the ZCC. The rest never bothered to give a submission to the issues of that. Very soon, it's going to become an act of parliament. In the act of parliament on the gender-based violence legislation, the following is going to happen. There's going to be a nomination process altogether, where people have to be nominated for a council of 10 to 15 people in South Africa. That council will control the resources of gender-based violence in the country. And at the provincial level, premiers will have to nominate their people. Currently, Norcape is stuck to finalize a provincial technical committee on gender-based violence. Politicians don't play the ball. ZFM have adopted a resolution. We might just implement the forum of gender-based violence in ZFM. But what we have done, we've put together 2 RTTs, the Rapid Response Team, already in Namakwa and ZFM. We are just finalizing memorandum of presidency that those RTTs must be finalized, they must be implemented. Then when we go to Pixley, we're being told that we must get a mandate. We decided we're not going to get involved with it. The crux of the matter here is today that when we start looking at gender-based violence as a factor, it's a big problem in South Africa. And it's a big problem in this province as well. The church got a role to play in terms of gender-based violence. When we look at the constitutional rights of the Bill of Rights under section 15, freedom, religion, belief, and opinion. You got a role to play. But does the church play that role to play?
Yeah.
Except going to service, having something called, I won't say the night version, whatever you call it, a crusade. Spending people's mind on a crusade is an element of a crusade. Who are you changing? Which redemption are you doing a crusade? Yourself to get light, to get money? It doesn't work this way. What about taking a crusade and making accountability of pastors? Change communities. They must understand that why are we having this type of crime in society? It's a role of the pastor to play, to guide, to lead, to give direction. It's not about what type of suit you wear in the church, what shoe you wear, what tie you wear. It's about you, the pastor, making a change into the church. And when you start defining a church, it's owned by the community. It's not your church, it's God's church. Stop saying it's your church. That's a community church. I think it's time that we need to have a look at the impact of gender-based violence in society, how huge it is. The youngest person was sexually molested in this province in the last 2 years was 5 years old. We're still sitting with the legacy of Baby Tsema. She's studying law today, she's in Cape Town. We all remember the judgment of Judge Henkwa when he said that man is a pig. And we never agreed to it as well. What have we become? We become reactionaries. The same way our root is, they become reactionaries. You are going to pray for who? For that family. Doesn't need your prayer. What that family needs, to have understanding why it happened with them. We use God names for our own issues. We don't use God names for the purpose of it. When we go down to the case of Leviston and the estate, it was of paramount importance to the case before us that the system of sexual exploitation of women and children depends on secrecy and fear and shame. When we start preaching Ephesians 5:22. We all know what we say there as Barutis. But do we understand what they're really saying, or become excited because they're getting married? Do you understand that what change this person is going to go through as a person? Now, when you look then into the activation of domestic violence, domestic violence has been amended now in different formats now, in the sense that it has become now criminal. In the past, it was civil. It's now criminal. Very soon that you'll be able to make an application online with an internet where you don't have to appear in court. I assume most of our routes got qualifications. There is an opportunity for you guys in a court. And it's time that, and if you don't have a criminal record, you can apply. Currently, there's a regulation called the Intermediate Services Regulations in place. But the criteria is very simple. You must have matric, you must at least have a diploma, not being appointed some to become a pastor or an apostle. You must be ordained from a church, or you must be a psychologist or a social worker, or you must have a qualification or skill to do that. To become an intermediate in the Act, you will be paid between 1,500 per day to sit there and be the person who becomes intermediate in the issue of domestic violence cases and sexual offense cases. Unfortunately, the NORCIP only got 22 people on that database in the province, which Appian only got one. The bugs in Kimberley. So today, Barutis, if you go in here, go down to your court manager and ask them for an intermediate application form and fill it in and become on the database. That can become an income. Imagine 1,500 per day for a week, it's about 4.5 grand to 5 grand a week. Some kids will take about 5 days. At least you'll be doing something about it. A good service to a community in terms of what your calling say you need to do. Now, when you go down to the Sexual Offences Act as well, the Sexual Offences Act is aligned now also to a number of key other issues as well, which also happens to amend the Pornographic Act as well. Which one passed 17 years in Cape Town for pornographic, by the way, sentenced last year. One old man suffered 7 years in Limpopo, witchcraft, and called himself a pastor from the Zion Church. So there's a lot of pastors being arrested, being locked up, being thrown away. So what we need to do that, I'm going to challenge the spokesperson today.
Amen.
And Fatima. Can you arrange a full workshop on 3 Amendment Acts and the 57 regulations? I will get you facilitators to do that. It doesn't matter if it's virtual or what.
Challenge, Prof.
So that all our pastors must be aligned them with the legislation deal with us as well. That. If we don't do that, we'll have a problem. We've been sitting here about for 5 hours. I can probably tell you now that there's already 10 women married in South Africa during the time. There's only 25 women raped in South Africa at that time. That's how serious gender-based violence and femicide crime is all about it. And I need to clarify what is femicide today. It is not for women, femicide. It's for all genders. Crime of passion becomes a femicide crime. And it will be taken up as a femicide crime. Whatever case I've been calling for, I've been calling for a change of the court way how we deal with femicide crimes. The Guardian case has been a femicide crime in Mpumalanga, not a murder case. It's still like a murder case, but an approach is a femicide approach as well when it comes to it. The Steelgum case was a femicide case, was not a murder case. Because we're able to charge income that time with femicide because the legislation have not been made amendment when it comes to it. The biggest cause of gender-based violence today, it's family. It's family. And it's family. Fathers being abused. Sons see how father abused the mother. Mother speaks to the father as you wish. Daughter see that how that's been happening around. You send the child to Osina to go and buy beer. You start drinking in the house. You scream, you do that, you end of the day that. And you want to quote your child about how you love to use 1945. That's the biggest problem of anger of our boys and girls in South Africa because of family issues in a household. The second factor is the issue of tradition. Especially what we call dowry lobola. It's a big havoc in our societies. We have turned girls into commercialized prostitution in our household by selling them to the highest bidders in the house. We have turned girls into commercial prostitution by selling them as the highest bidders in the house. You know for a fact those guys have the money for that. You're going to ask for 20 cows. Tomorrow when you start having an argument, he thinks that he got a right to have sex with her because he got married. And that's creating a lot of problems when you start looking into intimate partnership relationships in society. Now the Domestic Violence Act is addressing that now. You must make as well that. When it comes to sexual intercourse, we don't talk about these things in the church. But when it comes to sexual intercourse, irrespective of your married or not, you must not give consent to your wife, or your husband must give consent to have sex with her. Otherwise, it's been turned into rape. Now, what the Sexual Offence Act is addressing this particular area now, and basically the illegal regulations. They've also outlined what is consent. I came on top of you, Pastor Mokale. In 2 minutes, I said, no, Pastor, I don't want you anymore. I don't want your sex with you, married or not. That becomes rape. A lot of pastors will be going to jail for that, and young men in South Africa, if you don't change our attitude and our mindset as well. In short, gender-based violence is a reality. We cannot move it away. But Ruth is the ball